Good morning, Lafayette. I'm your meteorologist, Brian Burden, here on a Tuesday, June 2nd. It is going to be a glorious day here in the state of Indiana for the weather today. No chances of rain, sunshine's out and about. People will be out doing everything they can. I know I got a busy afternoon myself set up. I think I'll be in the slingshot. I think I'll have to take that out for a run again today. It's kind of fun to do that. The only bad thing is I'm coming home at night, and when you come home at night, that thing is hard to see at times, so you got to be ready for that. It's just like a motorcycle, so be ready for all of that. Let's make sure we got our volume going. Yep, I do. I'm good. Guys, that's what happens when you're just running a one-man show. You got to check on volume. You got to check on what's happening. You got to check to see if the next screen's ready to go. You got to do all that. And I'm having fun doing this. Just tell your friends, right? Tell some people around you what's going on. I talk a lot of weather. Most of it's weather, but I'd love to talk stuff that's going on in Lafayette if you want to talk about it. And it would be nice to spread the show out a little longer, say from 9 to 11, and a lot of talk mixed in there. Hey, this is going on 9th Street. Look what's going on. What should we do, right? A lot of you post on Facebook, but you don't get a chance to call in somewhere. Well, you wouldn't be able to call. We chat. I haven't figured out the call thing. I haven't even gotten into it yet. Just a little too busy with a lot of things going on. And one of these days, I'll hook up some phones to this thing, and we'll be able to talk on the phone back to forth. You know what I meant, right? All right, let's dive into the charts. I already told you it's going to be a nice day, so we're not going to stick too much on what's happening locally today early, but we will talk about it because it is something you at least want to know. It's 65 degrees outside right now. The model, the data that's being pumped out says 79 for your high today. Don't count on that. You know what I've been saying if you've been watching me for a little while now. I think I started last Wednesday, Thursday, and I told you what the scenario that we have setting up. And even though we have an easterly or northeasterly wind all the time, if we have cloudy skies, we'll be 75 to 80, right? What happened yesterday? Cloudy skies, official high was 78, it looks like right now. All right, that's right there. Looks like 78 was the high yesterday. Okay, what did I tell you was going to happen if there were no clouds? We'd be 80 to 85, right? Well, it's saying 79 today, and I don't see a cloud on this thing anywhere. And it's saying 81 tomorrow. So you can bet 80 to 85 today, 80 to 85 tomorrow, Thursday 80 to 85, and I might bump Thursday and Friday because it's already showing warmer. So it might be more like 83 to 88, kind of there. And then maybe 84 to 89. I don't think we're going to hit 90 until June 12th. But I would not be surprised if, like Friday, all of a sudden the forecast changes by then and it's shooting for 88 or 89 for a high, and we could just bump ourselves to 90. But I think June 12th is the day I'm going to look for the first 90-degree weather in the month. And believe it or not, there's going to be a lot of warm weather in our forecast for the rest of the month of June. Hottest June on record. You heard it here first. I don't go with those kind of things. It's just going to be hot. It's going to be warm. I do have some charts at the end, though, when we get towards the end of me talking about a lot of the weather that you will want to see that's being pumped out to people. And it kind of fits exactly my scenario of how I tell you how when they put out climate charts, they put it out where the warmest weather is going to be is in places they can't check on it, right? You can't check on it. And weirdly, the United States still looks like it's just a little warm this year, but the entire Pacific Ocean is going to be the hottest it's ever been, right? Well, they can't check a lot of that, right? They have buoys out there in places, but it can't be checked as regularly and easily as it can be in the state of Indiana, right? So there you go. That's how that works out. I'll get to some of those later. All right, 65 degrees right now. Sunny skies. Says that the high will be 79, but the winds are out of the northeast at 4 miles an hour. The light wind helps also for heating up, so that'll help too. Unrestricted visibility out there. So you can see for as far as you can see. At one time I remember being taught in forecasting school that on the ship, the horizon was 12 miles away. On the ship. Of course, you're up just a little bit on the ship, but that was pretty cool. I thought that was interesting, that the horizon line, where you see that line on the ocean, that's 12 miles away. So you can see anything from 12 miles in as an actual ship or something like that if you were looking at it. And you might be able to catch the tops of ships that are like 13 miles away, something like that. But it was pretty interesting because that helps and makes you think about weather and what a pilot sees when he comes out. When he pops out of the clouds and he's still 7 miles out, but he can see the aircraft carrier, he can get on it, right? But when he pops out 7 miles out and he can't see it, then he's struggling to know what he's going to hit in the middle of the ocean. So those are the kind of things that you watch out for, all right? All right, so there we go. 65 currently. Let's see what's going on around the state. Let's go to our Fowler camera this morning already. We have someone broke down on the side of the road. If you're out near Fowler, get out there. You see if you can help somebody out. What state road is that? Oh, that's 41. Yeah, 41 runs up and down the entire state of Indiana on the western side of it. You can go from like Chicago to Evansville, I think, on 41. And it's mostly 4 lanes just like this, and it's hardly ever traveled, right? You get a lot of local traffic when you get near Terre Haute and things like that. But, okay, so we're going to count today as 2, or should that be 1.5 because he's broke down? He wouldn't be there if he wasn't broke down, so we'll count it as 2, though, today. That still keeps the average right around 1 out of Fowler. What do I see out there, though? An abundance of sunshine on the map out that direction. Let's go all the way up to Rensselaer. We like to go up there and start with the cameras that are up there, and I like the, let's see if we can get it around. There it is. Woohoo! They are still doing the work up there just north of State Road 114 near Rensselaer. They're up there, but it's clear today. Running pretty good. They're not changing lanes anywhere. Now I can see some blue skies on their camera that looks out over the bridge. And, here's the beautiful 231 North Junction. Remember the north. Remember, 231 comes up from the south, hits the interstate, crosses it, and then goes up, and then makes a left detour, goes over, touches 65 again, and turns north again. So it's got like 2 exits to get on to 231 if you're looking for it. Look at this. I see maybe some cirrus way out on the horizon out over there. With this camera being so good, I think that is a possibility. And I can tell right now that the camera itself is pointed basically about northwest. It says north on here, and that could be north, but that does not seem like that's north to me with the shadow. The shadow here, north seems to be like over here to me at this point. But we're working with the northwest camera pointing towards that direction at this point. And the wind towers are going good. Your wind is out there, and we see some cirrus way out in the horizon, way out there somewhere, probably a couple hundred miles away. You can still see some of it. And then as we look at the Remington camera, looking pretty quiet there, not much in the skies either. We head on down to 231 and the other 24 junction here, right here. This is what the other 231 is, runs in. It's looking back towards the sun. Not good, other than we can tell that there's no clouds, right? So there's not much out there to be seen. There's the other camera at 231 looking at some truckers going by. Here we are, State Road 18. More blue skies. Traffic not bad. I'm starting to become a traffic reporter here. Traffic out on State Road 43 near I-65. I-65 running clear today. A little bit of traffic with plenty of trucks out and about, but the roads look plenty clear. You should be able to make your travel on time. There we go. I don't know what that was, what they're supposed to do or not. Wow, this looks pretty thick for Lafayette. That's a lot of traffic. Not that I don't see a lot of traffic on this camera a lot, but that's a lot of traffic moving around in and near Lafayette right now. Blue skies, though, for all of us. Looking great. There's an awesome picture of the blue skies at State Road 26. And, again, it's looking north for sure. You can see the sun coming out from the east, and that's what's happening this time of the morning, of course. You do pick up a little bit of the cirrus when you look to the south from State Road 38 down by Dayton. Got to clean this thing up before we get too long. Hopefully there'll be some rain to get some of that out of there, but there's not a lot in the forecast. Let's just say that. All right, State Road 28. Oh, yeah, State Road 28 camera, a new one here on this one. It's got a different angle that it's looking at. And we see some pretty good fields out there. I don't know if that's winter wheat that's going in out there, or if it's just not got, if it's got a lot of weeds on it waiting to be plowed. And then the camera that looks back towards Frankfort, the metropolis, we see just some sunny skies on that. And then there's the toll road, all right? Or the toll road, not toll road, the rest area. I knew I would figure it out somewhere, guys. Thanks for helping. I appreciate it. Here you are up in Lafayette, and you've got the Walmart up on the west side looking to the north, and then you've got Airport Road looking down at the road. That helps us none. River Road looks good, but we see some cirrus out on the horizon there. You can see it. Remember, the cirrus is real high in the sky, so you can see it from a long ways. That's 100, 200 miles out, okay? Now, cirrus can be moving pretty quick, though, too. So there you go. And as you go into the mall, it looks pretty quiet, and the mall, just sunny skies. Things are looking good. Well, what does that look like on your satellite picture? Here's what it looks like. It looks like, what are we immediately seeing? When I look at Indiana and I see Lafayette right here, I see it change to a darker blackish gray there as it does. So I know it's starting to warm up already outside. I also see not much in our area, right? Look at the Great Lakes is covered by some big high pressure system. It's keeping this at bay. Look at this, comes up, it turns south, and then it just dies. See the line? You almost can draw a line on there. I'm going to do that again later in the show here, and we'll show you what's going on. Let's zoom in just a little closer and get just the Midwest. All right, there's Lafayette right now. And so last week I drew a line on here, and I kind of gave you an idea of what I was talking about. And what we should see is, last week it was the Dakotas. It came down through St. Louis and then arced its way into the Carolinas. And we said anything on this side is dry, anything on this side is going to be wet. And this would be warmer, obviously, because it can get to the sun easier. But this will have a southerly flow trying to bring up in stuff into the systems. But look how it's arcing. You can see how it's turning, right? And then it gets out here, and look how it just falls apart. So this is the cirrus we're seeing out there, right? 50 to 100 miles out, you can see the cirrus really well. But nothing over Lafayette right now. So unless we get into one of these patches and we stay under it for a while, we're going to hit 80 today, I would say. 80 to 84 is pretty good. Stretching it to 85, but it might get there later. We'll have to see how that goes. But the line is very close. Right now, I just draw the line right about here. I could take it and draw it where the cirrus is, but look at this. It's pretty close to where it was last week. And it's going to stay there for a while, a few days again, and before maybe Saturday, we'll get into this and we'll see how far the model goes before it brings in some rain on us. And then let's get in even closer. Let's go into the subsectors. And hello, Lafayette. There we are, right there. Leave the arrow right there on that spot, and you can see the cirrus coming in from Illinois that'll brush along the western portions of my viewing area, which is Lafayette, basically. All right, so you can have some fun with that if you would like. But the line now would be out about here if you're looking at it, right? And so this cirrus here is just kind of caught in a dry spot with the big old high protecting the Great Lakes right now. All right, so that's how that is looking, at least on that front. What about rain with that? Well, let's go out a little bit. The rain is going to be out farther away from us. Obviously, you're going to see a ton of rain in this area here. Oklahoma City, over to, what are we talking, Little Rock almost. Then you go north and you start getting up near Lincoln, Nebraska. All right, so there's some places there where you're going to see some rain. Let's look at and change it to the mosaic, and you can see it pretty easily. There's not a lot involved here. I'm not sure what the jump is there. We have to see what's going on here. What's going on? Where's my pictures? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, there's a jump in this, obviously. These are some older pictures, and then here comes what's going on now. So I think I'm going to stop this just so we can look at it. All right? Does that sound good to you guys? Boom, there we go. Last pictures. All right, so this stuff out here is struggling. It's trying to go in this way now, right? Anything that goes this way is running into this high that's up over the Great Lakes. That's right there on this chart, roughly, okay? And what that's doing is it's keeping everything at bay, and you can see how it dries out the clouds and doesn't allow much to get to us at this point. And it's through many layers of the atmosphere because it's affecting the cirrus, it's affecting the low clouds, it's producing not much for precipitation anywhere, but where it is, it's a big blob of stuff. Hey, got my word blob back in there, all right? And today it's out in Kansas and Oklahoma, right? And some of this is going to try to trek up into Nebraska, and some is going to go back down towards Arkansas because it hits this flat spot, which is pushing back towards it, which is the high pressure system in control. Let's go back to the visible. Let's see what the visible looks like. What can we see there? Well, this one, let's see if it's not jumping. I don't think it is. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. You can see, look at the bubbling up of the thunderstorms back in the western portions of Oklahoma and in the panhandle of Oklahoma. And then you got a big thunderstorm complex that's in central Kansas. But right now, it doesn't look, I mean, it looks good on the radar, but we're not seeing a lot of high thunderstorms in here where they're popping out the top of the cirrus, right? We don't see any of that. We see a lot of good skies out towards Lafayette, out towards the Midwest. Bill was on yesterday. He got some good rain down here in towards Nashville yesterday. And remember, he was just inside that line yesterday like that. And he got some of that rain yesterday. He had a thunderstorm he reported in when he did. Oh, look, Kingdom Mindset's in there. Yeehaw, it's going to be hot, son. You're going to be out there in the sun today. You're going to get warm, all right? Be ready for it for the next week. Actually, it's going to be even hotter next week and the week after. So a very steamy, you heard it here first, steamy June on the forecast. Matter of fact, let's just go to the temperatures and see what's going on. All right, so let's see. Let's get the number here. Let me move there it is. 13Z would be 8 o'clock. It said 64. It says 67 for 10 o'clock. So what are we actually right now? We are 67. It's bumped up to 67 already since we've come on. So a nice morning out there. We go back to the charts. There we go. There's your satellite. Here we go. Back to Lafayette. Says it'll be 67 by 10 o'clock, and sure enough, it is already. So you can already see the models behind. The model it had us at 64, and we were at 63 when we came on, right? So, but I think we're already at 67. They're going to fall behind. Has us at, 71 by noon. And then by 1, 2 o'clock, you're at 73, 75, and then it tops out somewhere around 78, 79. And you can see it's like a diamond coming at you, the corner of a diamond trying to get in here. But all the wind is going this way, right? All the wind is going from the northeast to the southwest, or even due east to west, depending on where you're looking on this chart. So you're getting a lot of warm air. And open skies will lead to warm temperatures in this area as the day goes on. Expect it to be warmer than what they're saying it's going to be. They're saying 78. I'm saying 80 to 85, depending on where you're at. If you're up towards Rensselaer, you got a better chance of being at 84, 85. If you're down towards Lafayette, it's probably 82 to 84. All right, something like that. But you'll hit spotty areas that'll get a little warmer too. So think about that. Temperatures, I think, will definitely be above 80 as we go through the afternoon. What about tomorrow morning? Let's see. Oh, well, it goes down that far. Let's change the model, make sure we go out. Go to the 6Z, and it says tomorrow morning roughly 50, 51, all right, tomorrow in the morning hours. And you can see it looks like open skies again in this area because this is where the air is allowed to escape into the atmosphere at night with no cloud cover for sure. It might be everywhere, but it does look like there's an influence all around the lake where the temperatures are a little warmer, right? So that's what we're seeing there. Now, what's the high for tomorrow? Does the same thing, actually gets into the 80s tomorrow. 81 shows Rensselaer 82, and then here's that wedge again of the warm air trying to get in here, but it has no way. But our flow is now a little more southeasterly, which should be just slightly warmer for us. Hence, the model went up in temperatures, right? So tomorrow may be closer to 84 to 85, where today may be closer to 80 to 82, but I still think we're going to definitely be above 80, and there'll be some spots hit close to 84, 85 today. The scenario setting up with the big high in control is going to set up for a lot of warm air, and I think the model will be behind on that. Let's take a look at the GFS first. What does it keep saying about this time frame? So here we are, and remember the GFS has been cold, right? It's like 10 degrees off. Not every day, but it's a good 5 degrees off. Keeps showing colder temperatures, and we're getting warmer than that. That's why you got to talk to a forecaster. You figure that stuff out, right? All right, so here we are. What's Thursday? There we go. Thursday's high, right? Again, around 80 degrees or so. And we've got a southerly wind and a southwest wind there, right there. Boom, boom, all day. And so Thursday, you're talking 84, 85, 86 possibly. Again, cloud dependent, all right? On Friday, another beautiful, nice, warm day there. It looks like 80 to 80, there's a pocket. Everybody shows to be in the 70s on this. And that tells me there's going to be a lot of cloud cover over the area, and there could be rain still out to our west. But it doesn't look like the rain's getting to us, at least at this point. We were thinking Saturday and Sunday, right? Unfortunately for the weekend for everybody. And it shows a cooler high temperature on Sunday on this. You only see like 75 degrees. Well, is that a rainy 75? So, that's probably correct. You'd be on the lower side if it's going to be a rainy, cloudy day on Saturday. And right now it's setting up to be that way. And it looks like, even though we haven't even looked at the charts, it's going to look that way. Look at this Sunday. It's only showing a high of like 76 in Lafayette. 77. There you go. Winds due straight out of the north, right off the lake. The high is shifting a little bit over here, right now. I think we actually had like a high before that cut across, and then there's another high behind it, which is an area of ridging, and then it develops into a high possibly, and that's what's been happening. So Sunday, then Monday, how warm is it on Monday? Well, right there, 75 degrees or so. So I would bump this obviously in my mind. Let's see when I think it's getting hot next week. Here's the 10th. The 10th shows a high temperature around 77, and of course I would be thinking 80 if the clouds were out and gone. And then it shows a warm up on Wednesday to like 78. Let's see what it does for Thursday and Friday. Thursday, still 77, 78. Oh, there it is, 84 starting to stretch in there. And it gets all the way to 88 on the 11th. So I could get busted on my June 12th. We might actually get very close to 90 on June 11th, all right, even though I was going for the 12th. All right, we'll see what happens. You can see how the warm air is trying to get in here. You can also see the flow is that direction. So that tells me it'll be easy to pull in the warm air. It'll be very easy to pull it in towards Lafayette. You notice Indianapolis is still at 83 down here, downstate. And then you go over to Muncie, it's 84 and 85 at Fort Wayne. But the pocket will be right towards Lafayette and coming from the north. We'll call it west-northwest is what we'll call that, all right? So that's what day. That is Thursday, June 11th. And the day I said I thought it would be a guarantee for 90, for possibly our first 90 degrees is June 12th. And look at this. Boom. There it is. It shows 90 degrees the afternoon of June 12th. All right, so I'm not too crazy, but all I did was look at the flow, right? The flow. There must not be much for cloud cover around us, right? It looks like there may be rain south of us down here, right? Anywhere down in this area. Okay, and it looks like there's rain up here. Where's Lafayette? We're in between, right? So you can draw a line here and draw a line there, and it's just going to get warm in between all these spots. So you go right here, right, just like that, and then that whole area is going to get warm and probably doesn't have rain on the 12th of June. So we'll stick with it for now, but this easily could be busted before then. Here we go. There's another day, the 13th. We talked about that. It shows actually 90 degrees on both the 12th and the 13th. Now, it did not do that yesterday, so it's upped a little bit, and it's the same thing, right? Look at this. There's a swath of warm weather, right? And all around it's probably rain up here and probably rain down over here, all right? And so we're getting into June now. We're heading towards the warmest time of the year in July. I didn't see any real cold warnings in there, but there looks like one that could be cold, like in the low 50s. Yeah, I know we're saying to ourselves that's not that cold, but compared to what we would be in the 90s, this will be a little chilly morning to you. It'll definitely feel like that. But we finally back off on like June 15th, back into the, it's just 77 range in Lafayette, but that probably be 80 somewhere in there. And then it rebounds quickly by June 16th, Tuesday. We're right back into the upper 80s. It looks like there's pockets of rain to our northwest. Looks like there's pockets of rain possibly to our east. And we may be in the mix of pulling some of this up. But there may be cloud cover with this. That's why we're seeing not an aggressive move by the model. And then back into the 90s again by June 17th. And that's as far as the model goes right now. All right. So let's go back to the HRRR and take a look at precipitation and the type and what we're going to see. And I'm going to go out wider so we can see the full view. And what's the first thing you see here when you get on this? And I take it to our time frame, which is roughly right there. I see this thing right here, this high pressure system right there. It's it's right over the Great Lakes. It's doing everything it can to keep everything away. You can kind of see some ridging this way. You can see some ridging going down this way. And then you got weather over here trying to get past it. So we drew the line right through here, right? It's slightly easterly than yesterday, but it still cuts kind of through St. Louis, south of Evansville, and then kind of over north of Nashville and cuts towards the Carolinas again. Bill's in. What's he saying this morning? Gorgeous morning down there. That's great. Going to be extremely nice week. He's got highs in the low to mid 80s in his area and lows in the upper 50s to low 60s. Sunday, first good chance of showers for him. Yeah, these are the same thing. He's caught. They're in the bubble, right? So this high is in control. It's got a lot of weather going on there. But it's not in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is looking good, as Mr. Rogers would say. There we go. Right there, high pressure in control. I'm going to slant it. It's kind of cool. Can't keep it on there very long, but it's still kind of funny. All right, what happens to the showers today? Look at this. That band kind of, look at it. It literally splits. Some of it goes this direction, and some of it's going that way because it's running into this, all right? So watch this stuff down here going to the opposite direction, all right? And then the stuff in Nebraska is going north. See, so you got that play. But look at this. This is all day today, nothing anywhere near us, right? On Wednesday, tomorrow, nothing near us. No, hey, Nashville looks good too down there where Bill is, right? So everything looks good. And then the orientation sets up, instead of being out along here, right, and all your rain is out here, look what happens by Thursday. We're going into Thursday here. Now the setup is the rain's all over here, and that means we can shift a little more southwesterly, and we'll get even warmer by the end of the week, all right? So, boy, there'll be a line out here where the rain can't get by. We still have a big high, but now it's shifted down here. It's not over the Great Lakes, and now it's allowing a southerly flow to get towards us. Could that get us into the 90s this week? It's a possibility, but I'm still going to shoot for next week. We'll have to see how that goes. Let's see what the GFS says about this stuff. We'll look at it, put it in the same place, right? Rain's in the same place at the same time. This is for Thursday, like 2 in the morning, right? And then here's your high out here, all right? And then what does it do for Thursday? Takes everything up and around us. Everything's up and around us, right? The high is right here. It's still in control. There's a spotty shower here or there. Why? Because we're starting to heat up pretty good, so that'll help. But there's not much movement. Look at Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia. It'll be a hot day, plus there'll be no wind. Very little wind to help. At least up here in Lafayette, we'll start to get a little bit of a breeze out of the southwest. Looks like we're starting to pick up some, but the weather stays out to our northwest and to our west, way out there. And then finally, it tries to drag. Here it is, Saturday, right? Saturday morning, bam. Unfortunately, that's 8 o'clock, and then there's 11 o'clock if you're trying to get some ball games in. And I know there's still a lot of baseball going on. My little guy's grandson's got practice at 11 o'clock on Saturday. Hopefully, we will be able to do that. And then so Saturday, the rain comes through, and does it get all the way down to Tennessee? It tries, man, it washes out. Looks more like Sunday at this point, Bill. I'm not sure at this point. I don't see anything else. There's an isolated chance for a thunderstorm on Saturday. How's that? But most of the time, it looks like you are high and dry on Saturday, looking through there down in Nashville, where we get the showers on Saturday, and by Sunday, they wash through the Nashville area. Keeps it kind of rainy when you're heading to church down there, but we've cleared out by that point. All right, so here's Sunday morning, and then we start to clear out, and then what do we see developing again? We don't see any rain, but I see a big old high starting to develop up here. We got ridging going this way, you got ridging going that way, and we're starting to set up the same kind of hot pattern again, though we're going to have some spotty, now that it's getting warmer and warmer, maybe some spotty showers or thunderstorms still left over on Monday. So here we are going into Tuesday, but we're starting to pick up a flow from over here. Well, what's over here? Is there rain over there? Is there a big pocket of moisture over here to pull rain towards us? It's a possibility. So there's what could be the change, right? But it dries up pretty quick, so that's Tuesday. So maybe Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday, and then here's another high right here. Man, And then by Wednesday, Thursday, we're back into the mix of really good weather again. And here's where we start to bring in the chances for getting into the 90s consistently in June 12th. Very warm, highs in control right down here again. You go to June 12th, about the hottest time, and it shows the high right here. It's a closed high at this point with the ridging going this way and ridging going that way. All your weather trying to go up and around the big old high. All right. That's almost a week and a half away. All right. So don't worry yourselves. There could be some changes, but we've been very consistent on the hot weather and dry weather. Now, remember, I saw charts over the weekend that showed Indianapolis being like the 7th or 8th wettest spring it had ever had. Well, we would be on the opposite. We're not but 100 miles from them, not even that. And we're like the driest spring we've had, right? Because everything has missed us. There was a big swath of moisture that went in south of us that went in kind of like this and right here. And all of southern Indiana got tons of rain. We did not up here, and we got missed out. So a lot of the farmers have some pretty dry fields going right now. All right. As we get farther into it, look at that. You can see there's high up here, right over the Great Lakes. There it is. And it just kind of moves along. Finally, another day with June. It tries. Look, you notice how the front falls apart. Now, as it gets closer, the high is still here. It's just now shifted to the eastern Great Lakes. And it allows the front to come in, but the front falls apart as it comes closer and closer. And that's way out on June 16th and 17th, so it's a long ways away. And then I see a warm front go to our north. Look at that. There we go. So here you've got a low probably just off the chart. You've got a warm front sticking out here like this. Becomes stationary in here, and then maybe it's the tail end of that cold front we saw that's just falling apart. Well, watch what the warm front does. It pushes north, and it also, so now you see the effects of the warm front come all the way out here, brings us a scattered chance of showers on Wednesday, June 17th, which is 2 weeks away. But I'm looking at the flow change again. We get back into southerly, southwesterly flow after a disruption for a couple days, and you will see the return of the 90s again. And look at how hot it's going to get in these areas by later in the month, all right? So that's what I'm seeing on that chart right now. I'm seeing a lot of that. It just appears to be like a very hot scenario setting up. I don't see how we're going to get around that in any way, shape, or form as of right now. Well, let's look back at the short term real quick. Chris Cano's little website he's got out there, which is, what is it called? CG2? It's cloud to ground lightning is what he likes to call it. Cloud to ground weather, right? So that's where you got the CG, I guess, weather, right, out of it. But there it is, c2gweather.com, c2gweather.com, right? So cloud to ground lightning is what he's saying. That's one of the things we say. All right, but it takes all the data and puts it together for you, puts it in a digital form where you can read numbers straight out if you like this type of thing. For instance, here's some of the things I look for on it. I look for thunderstorms because it just says yes or no for me, right? Gives me a good indication there. I look at wind gusts. I want to see how high the numbers are. Look at this as we look through the next few days. Gusts, the highest gust it shows us getting is 17. Over the next 2 days. That's an average day. So you're talking a wind speed of like 8 to 10, 12 knots, and gust of 17 is nothing. That's a normal day, really. Very quiet there, all right, on that front. Also shows you what the model says are going to be the highs. And it's shooting for like 78 today, and I'm shooting for 80 to 85, right? So you'll see the differences, but that gives me a good indication where I'm at on that. I like the visibilities on here. I like the thunderstorms. What's the other things I use? I like to see how much cloud cover we're talking. Look at this, 0, 0, 0, 0. This is it doesn't show you high clouds, but look at this, 0, 0, 0 all night. Might be a beautiful night with that cirrus out on the horizon for some pictures. Guys, send them in to me if you want to. I'll put them up on here. All three of us will be excited about it that are watching. All right, so then we go through with Chris's model here and his C2G weather site, and I think you guys would like this. And it just tells you exactly what you're looking for in a written form if that's what you like, including for aviation, like how high the freezing level is, where's the -20. All of those are something that are indications that pilots might need to know. All right, that's one. Ceiling heights, they want to know those, right? LCL, CCL, those lifted condensation level, and the convective condensation level tells you where you can get precipitation, what it would take to get to a certain point. And, this kind of thing. So, let's go back on that real quick, see if I can move back here. Here we are today, moving into Wednesday, right? All right, so we're on Tuesday, and it says the lifted condensation level is like 8,000 feet, and there is no CCL on the charts. Okay, so one of these days I'll pop up an actual QT and show you guys everything on it. All right, let me take a quick swag of my drink, which is, of course, Diet Mountain Dew. All right, that I can tell that my voice is changing a little bit. It's still got the the deepness to it. It's softer than it ever used to be, and you guys know I was a loud person, especially when I was in my 20s and 30s. I was loud and obnoxious. I know that. It's easy to see it now and talk about it, but back then you didn't think about it, right? And then I'm also noticing I'm starting to get a growl a little bit to the throat too. Craig says I should sing. Maybe I should sing with that growl. Oh, yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. All right, so that's C2G's weather. That's Chris's. And Chris is heading off to Antarctica this year. Right? He wanted to go. I got him in touch with somebody there. They are taking him in. He's going down for weather. I'm excited about that for him because he's excited to go too. I kind of wish I only did it once, but then again, I went 8 times. I had a great time. I met great friends that are still friends. Bill, obviously, is one of my best friends. And when I was down there, he was my best friend, right? Him and Joe. So we were like 3 peas in a pod, so to speak. All right. But we laughed about some things that we saw when we were down in Antarctica, including one of the things that would be. Let me come back out to me real quick here while I'm talking to you. All right. So we would laugh about some of the things we saw in Antarctica, and mainly that would be like your scientists that were busy trying to get things done, and they would always seem to have something. They would always seem to have, oh, look at this. This will give me a reason to come back next year. This will give me a reason for them to give me $50,000 for me to be here for 2 weeks next year, right? So that they could get to Antarctica. And I'm not saying scientists aren't doing some good work. They are. But sometimes it was obvious they didn't have anything and they're stretching it. And you've seen it and you know what I'm talking about, right? So if you're on that squad with me, you know what I'm talking about. All right, I lost my main page there. Wow, that's something I can't do right there. Let me get back to the full screen. It's there. See if I can get. There we go. There's that. Let's see if it'll let me change here back. All right, there we go. The only thing I lost was my OBS on the right, so I don't know if I can see who's talking, except I got it on the phone. All right. I'm pretty sure we're looking good here. On the chart, it should have came back on, and we should be good. See, if I hit OBS again, I get in this back and forth with it. Okay, there it is. Now OBS came up on. I have two computer screens, and I keep OBS over here on the right, which is the one that runs all the systems, sends all the information to YouTube so that you can see the videos, and that's how that kind of works. And OBS is free. OBS is free, which is cool. That's a good thing. It's something we really like about that. All right, so let's get back to something I saw on the internets. The interwebs here, all right? This is talking about a super El Nino is on its way. Super, we don't want to just say El Nino. We got to say super El Nino, all right? And then this is a probabilistic, I think that's how you pronounce it, probabilistic multi-model ensemble forecast. Okay, you're already throwing people off by using big words. How about just say this is some kind of multi-model forecast? That would have been good. No, we got to throw the big words in here. Okay, this is issued through May 2026. And what you're seeing here is almost certain to arrive this summer is the super El Nino. So El Nino's one of the few things or first things I also learned about when I got into the field after forecasting school. I don't remember them teaching El Ninos in forecasting school, but they may have. But I was a West Coast Marine. I was out in Camp Pendleton, so we knew a bit about El Ninos, and I had heard about them before I even went to forecasting school from the forecasters out there. What it is it's an uplifting in the, we would call this what? The Eastern Southern Pacific, down off the coast of Chile, this area right here, right? It actually probably stretches out something like this, is how they look at it. And this upwelling, it's an upwelling of warm water coming up from below, right, is the upwelling, makes it warmer, and then that is an indicator of things that could happen across the globe. Well, 20 years ago, it was still, we don't know what it's doing. Now it's automatic, it's hot, and it's going to be the driest it's ever been. That's where they go to right now, because that's the go-to for climate change, right? But I want you to look at some of these charts. This one right here, the ensemble, the probabilistic ensemble, showing where the hot weather is going to be. What I want you to notice, and I don't even think this one is one. This is just for the month. It shows warm weather for us, right? Look, we're right about there. We're in this pocket, but it shows the pocket of where the high is going to be, right, setting up. And it says it's going to be a little colder off of Greenland, right, and a little bit off of Alaska, and a little bit off of Australia. It's normal anyway, right? But look at this. The entire planet is warm. Nobody is cold at all, and that's the way they're showing it, all right? So let's go on to the next chart, right? Let's see what we've got here. This kind of gives you a good idea. See the uplifting? It kind of drew it out like that. What does it do for us? And can I get this out? There we go. I got the stuff off of it. Trade winds blowing from east to west, weaken or even reverse, go the opposite direction. That I heard about when we were talking about El Ninos. And what does that do? It creates a warm, moist air and rain shift, which eastward towards the central and eastern Pacific, where it's usually drier most of the year, right? But then what does it do everywhere else? That's where the questions always come from. It says the western Pacific is then cooler than normal, right? Well, hold on a second. If it's warmer than normal because of the El Nino over here, don't we have a name for the cooler over here? Come on, guys, get on it. All right, so let me go back to this. And then over here it shows you warmer. Warmer water spreads eastward, and then the upwelling means it comes from below, of the cool, nutrient-rich water is then reduced because the warm water takes over, and then the same krill and the little plankton and stuff that the animals eat is not there, so that they have to shift a little bit. The animals are fine. They move with it. They're usually pretty good with that kind of stuff. All right, so let's see here. See if I can get the arrow back up. Let's go to the next chart. Here's the one that I see everywhere, okay? This is telling you, what is this telling you? Issued for May 2026, and I believe this is for, what is this for? I can't read it down here, unfortunately, but it doesn't say that. But I think these are temperatures across the world, right? Right? This is across the world for May 2026. You notice what it's not showing, which is unusual. It's not showing hot weather over the United States. Looks pretty cool there, huh? How about China? There's a little bit of warmth in China, but not too bad. Oh, look at Africa. Look at Africa. This is the first time I've seen this, though. And why have I seen that we can see that it's going to be colder in the Middle East? Well, first off, we all now have temperature sources out here, right? We have thermometers in Egypt and Libya and Saudi Arabia and yes, Iran and places around that can dictate and tell you what the weather is. So they got to show you what that is. But look at this. Wow, where's this? Places in the middle of the Pacific Ocean where they can't verify what the temperature is going to be like. They're saying it's going to be stinking hot. Look at this. Oh, it's also over the Atlantic. Oh, and then look at this over the Indonesia in that area where they'd have a few thermometers, at least on land we'll be able to check out there. And then look at this. A lot of times the Sahara is just full of hot, right? Because there's no thermometers out there. Nobody can check it. Same thing with the western portions of Africa. There's not a lot of thermometers out here, but there are some. And then a lot of times they'll show warm air in the Siberia area, everywhere north, anywhere northern Canada where there's not a lot. So this is not exactly the same, but it's close. Still shows some warm weather. Kind of gives you the idea of what I'm talking about. And so then it's showing what is the La Nina and El Nino phenomena for UK weather, and then they get in. So it came from the Daily Mails where I saw those. Just thought they were interesting. I thought you guys might like to see them and talk about them this morning and see what's going on that front, okay? So when you see a chart and the only place they show where it's going to get hot, or one of the places, is places there are no thermometers, right? Then I start to go, what's going on here, okay? Now, when it's over land, most places except for like Siberia, northern Canada, the Sahara, right? Maybe eastern Africa, those areas have very few thermometers around them, right? There's a lot in what is that? What am I talking about? India. There's a lot in India, so we can see there. They show warm, though, but it's warm there all the time. I do want to go to India and see all the people there. So, hustle and bustle around with wherever they're going. All right, so there you go. You've got that on that front, and that's what we're seeing, at least on those sides. Let's go back to our current weather. And what has the temperature now bumped up to? 69 degrees. Winds out of the north. Now we're calling it east-northeast, not the northeast. We're going to go east-northeast. So a whopping 7 miles an hour. Not much to really hit you in the face. Going to be a nice ride on the slingshot into church today. Got a lot going on at church. Right now I feel up. I feel good. I'm best I felt in the morning in a while. But hopefully the rest of the day will go good. With this Parkinson's stuff going on, and anytime it can change on a dime. Susie and I were talking about it yesterday. Let me come out over here real quick. There you guys go. You can see my face just for a moment. Susie, my wife, my beautiful wife, and I were talking last night a little bit about it. With Parkinson's, you don't know at any given moment what's going to happen. There have been times I've gone to church and literally been there 20 minutes, gone to church feeling decent or feeling maybe just off a little bit but not terrible, and within 20 minutes to a half hour, I got to turn around and go back home. That bothers me. It's only a 30-minute ride to church. It's not like it's the end of the world, but I will just feel bad. Or I can go a whole day sometimes, and there'll be like 20-minute periods where I feel awful, right? And then it'll pop right back out of it. So the fatigue you get with Parkinson's is hard to talk about. And I don't even know if it's Parkinson's right now. It's just some kind of Parkinson's-ism. There's a whole bunch of them it could be. It may not be Parkinson's. It could be something else, but it's in the same category type thing. That's what they found on the test. I don't talk to the doctor until like July 15th or something like that. My sissy's birthday. I don't talk to the neurologist till then, so I'm not going to have a game plan until that point. Hopefully she'll have something. We're going to make a whole big list so I don't forget what to tell the doctor, because over the years I probably get out half of what I need to get out to some of these doctors sometimes. And that may have led to some of the problem of not finding it as fast as they did. Because if they found this 5 years ago, I would probably have different medications and I might be feeling better, right? It was obvious 10 years ago there were problems. Just to give you guys a Parkinson's update, it was obvious now that 10 years ago there were signs, we just didn't realize it. And then it got real bad in the last 2 years, and the last year I literally have been doing almost nothing. I've been at home, stuck at home. I get out and I come back, and that's about it. Feel awful. They've given me some medication. Now they're into the point where they're giving me opioids, or right on the verge of an opioid. But it has knocked down my pain level a couple points, which has helped. So I'm happy about that. But the fatigue and just like the soreness and the fatigue of that is just not gone. That's not done anything for that. But it did help like the more nagging pain from the arms and legs that I've been getting over the years. All right, so thanks for listening to me about that. Let's get back into this. 69 right now. They have not changed their high of 79 today, but guarantee you 80 to 85 is where it's going to be. What did it do last week? It hit 84 both those days. So I'll be shooting for 84 again today. Tomorrow I'll be shooting for like 85 and maybe 87 on Thursday and 88 to 90 on Friday possibly. I think we're going to get like to 89 on Friday, right? Watch what happens. We'll have to see. And then next week we maybe hit it. Then Saturday we're going to be, because it's raining and cloudy, we may be like 78 to 82 because of the rain. Just depends on when the rain comes through. If it comes through in the morning and then we clear up in the afternoon, we might get to like 85, right? So those are the things we'll look at as we get closer to Saturday. Same thing with Sunday when you look at this, 84, right? 84, I'll probably bump that to 87. All right, so there we go. We got that. What happened to my OBS? Did I lose it? All right, I'm going to lose a picture here in a second. Boom. All right. And we knew that was going to happen, right? And then, why do I keep losing OBS when I do that? I am not sure. Okay, I got to have one or the other. Let me get over here so I can get back to the full screen and move my face over there, because I think that's what you're seeing. And then we go back to this. There we go. And hopefully you guys are seeing that, right? I see just my ugly mug on there, so don't leave me. Don't leave me. I'm back. I'm back. Hopefully you're seeing the chart, which is showing those temperatures, and then you'll see some of that. I'm seeing a delay on my picture, so I'm seeing what's going on. It just shows like it's showing me most of the time. All right, so let's get on. Let's see what's going to do next week, right? You pop, well, it went backwards. Let's go to the calendar. Here you go. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Okay, so the models are saying the first 90-degree weather is the 14th. And the 12th, it'll be 89. Now, I've been shooting for the 12th. And the 11th, it says 83. But remember when we looked at the model numbers and we looked at what the way the flow was on the 11th, I was thinking that it could be the 11th. But it only says 83, and it could be because of the cloud cover. We'll see. Raining, thunderstorm potential on the 12th, but a strong south flow, which may take us right to 90 on degrees on the 12th. And then it looks like it's almost a guarantee after that. Look at this, 40 on the 14th, 90, 86 on the 15th. I wish the arrow wasn't showing all that stuff. There we go. 86 on the 15th, 90 on the 16th, 93 on the 17th, 91, 92, 87. All these averages, so like the 20th. The 20th says 87 degrees, and the average is supposed to be 85. So it's only 2 degrees above, but that means all these temperatures here are 10 degrees above normal, right? Then you get into the latter portions of June, and the temperatures are actually near normal. Remember there was a little cold period in there where we had that front try to go through and do a little damage and cool us off, and it did for a day or two there. And then we started to get back into the warmth. There we go, 86, 87, 91, 95 degrees. 95 degrees on the 27th and the 28th. So it's going to be, if you are having a June wedding on June 27th, it is going to be hot. Be ready for that, all right? Now, that being said, that is 4 weeks away. So don't worry yourself yet. This will change. This will change. These will develop and change too, all right? So just keep your mind on that, the fact that everything will be a slightly different than normal on that, all right? Moving through those charts, let's go down to the bottom here. Let's look at our averages over the months, all right? And what I'm seeing here is it's showing us, the model says this is going to be about average, right? Okay, so when you get on here and you push on the button and you move it to the side, here's like a couple days ago, we hit 84. Remember what the model was saying? What was the model saying on May 29th? It was saying 80. All right. And it never got above that. Now it's starting to show some warmer temperatures. Look at all these temperatures here, right along the line here, all far above normal. And a very warm mornings too, so a very warm period. So it may not be necessarily way record-breaking temperatures for your highs. It's still going to be really warm in the 90s. But look at this. A lot of these are 70s. In here for some of your lows, 60s and 70s. So very warm temperatures like this one there. It's going to be 90 that day, but the daily low is 65. It's like the coldest day in the period. Here's one. The low is only 71. That's steamy. That's South Carolina mornings right there. South Carolina, 72 in the morning, right? You turn the air conditioner on in your car and boom, it immediately fogs up, right? You remember that? That's why we rode motorcycles when we could. All right. All right, so the daily weather looks like that. And it has shown that we have been warmer the last week or two, right? And then there was a cold period. You can see all the ups and downs of spring. We're basically end of February right into March. March and April were definitely spring-like with tons of up and down temperatures. Look at this. We had days that were 10 degrees above, and then we dropped to 10 degrees below. Then we go 10 degrees above, and then a couple days later, 10 degrees, 5 degrees below. You saw lots of ups and downs. That is spring. This right here is starting to get your summer type activity where you get steadily above and warm and steadily warm in the summer, just like you do in the winter. A lot of times you get very cold steadiness and coldness like we saw in January and February, right there. So that's how that chart works on that front. All right, let's go back to the radar real quick. Satellite, see if we can see some more. Let me change it to that day cloud phase that I like. So there you go. At night, you can kind of see where it picks up some of the higher clouds like that, but then it puts the lower clouds. You can see them pretty easily on some of the factors. Let's zoom in right into Lafayette. Lafayette on Sunday. When is the next rain we were talking about? Saturday. On Saturday. Look for rain showers. But now as we get into June, July, and August, expect the potential for a pop-up thunderstorm anytime we get warm. If we get above 80 most days, there'll be some potential for some thunderstorms to pop up somewhere in the Midwest. And sometimes those will be over us. So we'll keep an eye on those. Right now, when I went back and I looked at the a storm prediction center, which is what the thunderstorms are, severe weather. Today, there's this big bulb of nothing over the Midwest. And it was today, tomorrow, and the next day. All 3 days didn't show us in anything and showed very little activity throughout the country. And when you go back and look at the last 20 years, what you'll find out is we've had less thunderstorm activity and we've had less tornadic activity across the United States. That doesn't mean there wasn't a few years here or there that were above. What it means is the vast majority of the time we've been below. Why is no one telling you that? There's a reason. Same thing with your hurricane activity, right? And even with them spotting a low out somewhere where it wasn't, and they see a 35 knot wind and they call it tropical, right? Which they didn't do years ago. And they get a couple extra storms. It's been below average. And this year they're going way below average. Now, part of that's the El Nino. They think it's going to enhance the possibilities of no hurricanes. We're not going to get no, but they just dropped the numbers below. All right. So we've been getting, 15 to 20 in the Atlantic each year. And I think the average is 16. And this year they're going for like 12. Right? And only like 3 big storms. And that's probably the El Nino that has something to do with it. Well, how many were there last year? Just count the letters and you'll figure it out. All right. All right. We're getting close to the top of the hour. Time to get out of here. Spread the news. Spread the news about what's going on here and what Brian's got cooking. What do I got cooking? I say we're going to be cooking this month. All right. It's going to be very hot, very dry. We're going to need the rain. I know a lot of the farmers are out there and need it. We got guys that come to church all the time working the farms, some of them, and they are looking for some rain, and they need that. And that corridor rain was right about here. That's where that big corridor rain was. That's why Indianapolis had its 7th wettest, May on record or spring on record. I'm not sure which one it was. I saw it. For that. And we stayed out of that because all that pocket of rain was in a swath like this, right? And we were not in any of that. So maybe down county they got a little bit more, but the rest of us didn't see anything. And here's what I love about this picture in this satellite version. It's a visual, so you're seeing the clouds, you're seeing them dissipate, right? Look, they look pretty thick here and they start to fall apart, right? But look, I can see the river so well, all right? Woohoo, heading down south. There you go. There's the old Wabash, and there's the Tippecanoe kicking in, coming in too. All right, so you got that. I think it goes like this, roughly, and then the Wabash goes like this. All right, so that's where you got it. That is it for today. Let me pop back out here. Let me go over here, put that on. Let me see if we got that. You probably got me now. Hopefully you got me on the big screen. You guys have a great middle of your week. Have a great Tuesday. I've got an active Tuesday, so I'm kind of excited about getting to church. I feel pretty good right now this morning. We'll see what happens. Got some meetings at church this afternoon, and then we got the music tonight. They do their practices on Tuesday. And I am the slides guy this week, and I will be there working on that, all right? Okay, it's been great talking to each and every one of you. What time will I be back on again tomorrow? You got it right, 9 a.m. It'll be great to see you then. You have a great day and a blessed day. See you tomorrow.